Well, hello again. It looks like we're going to be getting back on with the Ruston PB. I think we're going to get cylinder head, face and water jacket cleaned, ready to go on. It's going to be interesting. Right, first thing I'm going to be doing today is getting out these studs. Luckily, these ones are all unscrewing. That's an odd bolt, but there you go. But this one isn't. The nut's coming undone, but we want to get this stud out. It's going to make it so much easier to clean this head face up if I can get the stud out. Will this stud undo? We'll try this. If not, we'll have to get some Stilsons on it. I'm hoping. Look at that. Let's get out past the exhaust. That one comes out and all. Oh, look at this. Marvellous. That has made my job a heck of a lot easier. There we go. We've got all the studs out. I think. Let's get that piston at the top. That bloody tight spot on that engine. There we go. Alright, we're at the top. So I think now we've got to, I think I might, before I start this, I might clean out this water jacket. Yeah, I'm going to have to lift the trailer up at the front. And then I'll get some wire and some stuff and I'll poke in here and I'll clean out that water jacket actually. Right. Let me get out and then we'll get ready and clean that water jacket out first thing. So we are back with an airline. Give him a little poke in there. See if we can get all this freed out. Oh, that's pretty good. We're getting a good. Yeah, we're getting a fair way. We're getting that far in the engine, so yeah, she's going. Yeah. Come on. Well, these waterways all seem quite clear, which is good. Can't see any obstructions in them. Now that bottom airway, this one here, we're not going to be using that because we're using the original cylinder head. And with the original head, that was never used. What's in here? Whatever's this? Well, I found a sprocket. Ah, this obviously had a sprocket on it at some point. There you go, that'll explain why it didn't have one of these flat pulleys. Well, she obviously had a sprocket. And there's the other head stud we were missing. There we go. The guy who got the engine off sorted me out with this bolt. But we've now found the original head stud. It was in the hopper. What else is in the hopper? Rust. More rust. Yeah, plenty of rust and crap in there. I think, instead of blowing that down, I think I'm going to get a hoover and hoover as much of this out as I can. Yeah, there's a fair bit. Let me get the hoover and I'll get this hoovered out. Here we go. There's a bit here I'm not happy with. There we go. You can hear that hoover. Yeah. Excellent stuff. Alright, that's pretty much cleaned out. What are we going to do now? I reckon we've got to get a bit of sandpaper on a block of wood and sand this head, or sand this block should I say, so that's got a nice flat surface on it. And once we've done that, we can do the same on the cylinder head, and then the head will be ready to fit. But before I fit the cylinder head, I'm going to time the Magneto. So it's got to be easier if I time that so I know where it's sparking before we actually fit the head. Then I can make sure it's sparking just before top dead center. So I don't know where the timing marks are on this. So yeah, we'll do it that way. But I will have to get a flap disc on a grinder and just grind up this mounting plate where that mag sits so it's got a good earth. Oh, I'm too old to be getting in and out of trailers. Alright, I'm also going to clean this engine up a bit while we're at it. I know I seem to be flitting about here, but I'm getting in my head a rhythm of what I need to do. And we're getting pretty close to wanting to be able to fit this Magneto back. So I want to just clean this engine up. A bit. Because we've got to paint this engine anyhow, so. But that won't be anywhere near yet. I'm going to get it running before I paint it. If I'm going to paint the engine, I always make sure it's running first. Because last thing you want to do is paint it and then damage your paint bath and take it to pieces again. So. There we go. Like I say, I've got my trusty diesel in there again. I do like diesel as cleaning agent. It's brilliant stuff to clean engines with. Absolutely brilliant. Right. There we go. I'm a bit all over the place today, guys. I'm flitting from one thing to another. But, off camera, I've just cleaned the cylinder head up. Now then, I was wondering the mystery of which head I should use. Whether I should use this head or this one. Big difference, as you can see on the end there. Look how thick that one is compared to this one. And I was like, which engine should go on this, or which head should go on this engine? When I got the engine, this head was on it. Whether it was the original, I don't know. I think so. And I was like, well, why? Which one should it be? Well, I've just found an original head stud. No, I haven't. That isn't a head stud. I don't know what that bolt is then. Anyhow, this is one of the original head studs that goes in the bottom. Watch this. Goes through this head. Perfect. If I get the other head, nowhere near long enough. So that tells me the engine should have this head on it, which rings right, because this being a 1931, the earlier engines, I believe, did have this style of head where the spark plug comes straight out, and it also denotes it runs on kerosene as well, so I can run this on heating oil like I did my old PB8. I used to turn the petrol off, fill it up with petrol in the morning with neat petrol, start the engine, and I'd have to fill that 3 times with petrol, basically using 2 Coke cans. I used to put petrol in a Coke can, and I used to put 2 Coke cans of petrol through this to get it running. And you know, as it was running, you'd keep filling it up slowly, and then by the time you'd give it 2 Coke cans, that was warm enough where you could turn your petrol tap on, and this would start filling up with heating oil, and then she'd keep going. That's how that PB8 used to go. I used to run it on heating oil all the time, no problem. It's far cheaper than running these on petrol. Because when you're on a rally, these can swallow 2 gallons of petrol a day. And not being funny, but that cost us enough to rally these engines, so we want to keep costs down as much as we can. It's alright for the events because they get the attractions for free, but we're the ones that have to pay for it. But there you go, that's all part of the hobby. Right, I think we can get that Magneto shaft in now. This one here, I'm going to fill the little oil way up here. I'm going to fill that up with oil, so we've got a bit of lubrication. Put that in, and then we can set our mag up to where we want it. I'll show you how to do that. So there's top dead centre on the compression stroke. No, that goes this way. Hang on, I got this wrong. Oh, here we go. So we're drawing the fuel in, we're compressing the fuel. We're compressing, goes bang, and then the exhaust comes and pushes it out. Right, okay, we're right. So we're coming down, we want it to fire. We want it to fire about there. So we've got that little gap in there. That's where we want our Magneto to fire, just before top dead centre. The Ruston buffs among you might be like, oh, that's wrong. There are timing marks. Yes, there are, but I don't know where they are. But if we have it firing just before top dead centre, which will be about there, because a lot of engines are sort of anywhere between sort of 15 and 6 degrees before. So I'm guessing if we have it firing about there, that'll work. So we can get our oil can, get some oil in there. Oh, she's all very slippery. Here we go. Let's get some oil in that little hole. There we go. Now we can put that shaft. Let me take my bolt out. I am going to just put some oil on that crank gear as well. And on here. Oil everywhere. There we go. We want plenty of oil. There we go. And there is our mag shaft in. If I can find the little bolt. There we are. Look at that. We are all in. So now I need to run around to the workshop, get the Magneto, and yeah, I'll show you how to get him timed up. So I've got you guys at the back of the engine now, looking down, so I think you'll get a better look at what I'm doing. You can see our Magneto shaft down here, and we're going to put the Magneto. Let me see if I can, excuse this dodgy camera, right, there you go. What we've got to do is, we know, I haven't turned this engine, so we know that's where it needs to be firing. So our contact points need to be opening about there. Now whether you can see this on the end here is what your mag goes into. and that's on a thread. So I mean, you're only going to use 180 degrees of that anyhow. We can get it quite close, which meshes into here, and obviously this turns. When you get this where you want it, you then lock this lock nut off to lock that up into position, and that's when we know where our points, how we can adjust it. So we can set the mag here to where our points are going to be. So if I put in there, see, our mag's turning with that now. So if we turn this to where our points are just opening, do that lock nut up, we're done. But to start, I just want to get it bolted back on. Let me just get the bolts back in the mag. Come on. There we go, our mag bolts are going in. And that'll give us a little bit to play with. There we go. We got a little bit we can play with to get this timing right. So let me get this back cover off. And you aren't going to see this, guys, but I'm just going to set this so the points are now opening. Which way do it come? So that's spinning away from us, so our points are going to be opening our points are now going to open there. That's where our points are now opening. Coming that way, that's it. So that's going that way. That's it, them points are now starting to open. So if I lock everything off there, we should be right. So one final check. I've got the mag bolted down now. Alright, then points are now starting to open. So we can now hold this. Yeah, we want to just hold this here. So that timing don't go out. And do this lock nut up. And that will hopefully lock our timing in position. There we go. So our mag now opens. There. Perfect. So we're opening just before top dead centre. So guys, we're ready for the cylinder head. Let me jump back in this trailer. Couple of little bits of housekeeping before we start. Your head studs, where they go in, blow them out. Always make sure you blow them out before you go screwing studs or bolts in. Otherwise, we've had a lot of diesel and a lot of crap getting about there. If we had diesel or oil running them studs and there was liquid in there, when you screw your studs in, you could possibly hydro lock it, because that will just keep going in, compressing the fluid, splitting the block, or if there's muck in there, the stud won't go in all the way. So off camera, I've got most of the nuts to come off these studs. Believe me, they were tight. So we're now going to drive the studs into the engine. Short bit of the stud go in the engine, a little bit of WD around them. screw he in. But we'll see. This stud can go in there. Wipe them off, give them some WD. In he goes. And what we thought was the missing stud that I found in the engine don't fit, so we're going to have to use this bolt that the last owner gave me with it. But that fits. So that won't stay off for a minute. Now we just want to tuck these all down with a pair of mole grips. Just do these studs up a little. They don't have to be two ooga doogas, you can do one ooga dooga. There we go. Now we can get these bolts off. We'll give that a wipe down with a rag, and then we can get our new head gasket on. So if I put all these head bolts up on here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I just give them a little lubrication while they're out of the engine, there we go. Let them soak a bit. We can get a rag and just clean that head up. Right, there we go. Do you know, that looked like that's going to rain. So we're just getting the oil and that off that head. Ready to put our gasket on. Now I want these as dry as possible before I start putting a gasket in there. Do you know, I think I just heard a clap of thunder, fellas. Alright, let's get our gasket over. Here we go. Our new head gasket. Da, 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 da. Look at that. Right, don't go on any particular way. So we can just slide him over. There we go. Make sure there's no crap underneath. That's essential. That's clean. You got to remember, this is a thick gasket, which is good on these old engines because it makes for, well, it just makes for a, a better seal when you're dealing with something. There you go, it's gone. There was a little knob of weld in there, I just want to get that off. We'll blow this head out. There we go, he's blown off. Blow these waterways out. There we go. A final wipe with a clean rag. And on our head goes. There we go. Now we can get our bolts on. Nuts. Oh hazelnuts. There you go. 1. 2. Come on, girl. 3. These nuts, to get these off these studs, I have to hold the stud in a vice and get a blowtorch on them. And damn no, you get them red hot, you know, just to get them off. Because, oh goodness, they were tight. There we go. So, our head, come on baby, there we go. Our head is now just about on. I just need to get my spanner and nip them up. And I think I'm going to left the spanner in the shed. Now I'm back with my spanner. Yes, I'm going to use an adjustable. And I'll tell you for why. All these nuts, because they're so old and probably been undone a few times, they're all different sizes. You can get a spanner that will fit one side and it won't fit the other. With an adjustable, I can do it just tightening the spanner, do them in a cross pattern. Oh, hang on, that one got to come all the way in yet. This little one at the bottom here, got to go home quite a way. I think these are about done. Is there a torque setting for these? Probably. Do I know what the torque setting is? Nope. So we'll go click click torqued. Click click torqued. Click click torqued. Click click torqued. 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 So our cylinder head is back on. I say you ain't got to do them up 100 hookah-dookahs, you only got to do them just so nip them, then snug them, then give them that final little push. So yes, there we go. This has got to be the big question. Have we got any compression in here? And yes, before you ask, I did oil the cylinder inside before I done this. I did get the oil can and work some oil on the inside of the cylinder, just so the cylinder's lubricated. Right, well, I'm going to call it a day. I was going to get a plug, but I've had enough and I'm going to get cleaned up and go home, because it does look remarkably like it's going to rain. That's come over really dull and I don't want this whole girl getting wet, so we'll get the cover back over her and we'll have another go tomorrow. This video's long enough for now as it is, so yes, come back tomorrow or in the next video and I will probably have a plug in there. We'll put some oil in it. I'm thinking I ought to make a gasket up for this carb as well. So I think for a little home project tonight, I'm going to take this carb off, take it home with some gasket paper, which will be this bit of cardboard, and we'll make a gasket up. I'm joking about the cardboard, but I have got some proper gasket paper. Right, so yeah, we'll get a gasket made up for that, and I shall be back next time. Right, that's it guys. Bye bye for now. Ha ha.